Welcome back, everybody. Flame Tech Football Friday continues here, coming to you out of the bunker. We are brought to you in part by Wheaton Kia. You can find them in North Regina, corner of Albert and Avonhurst. They bring you the Friday football interviews. And by the way, stop on the Coyotes discussion for now, because we are going to talk football, but man, do people gone nuts about that. I want to swing it back into the football because that's what we do on Fridays. J. Pierre Ducharme is watching on Facebook, and he says, great atmosphere and entertainment at BC Place last night. With Amar Dolman as our leader, it's a whole new era for the BC Lions. For sure. Although last night they lost 21-16 to the Edmonton Elks. I enjoyed the broadcast on TSN. Both teams 1 and 2. Let's go with Wes Cates, Saskatchewan Roughriders Hall of Famer, Stamps and Roughriders alum, pride of Columbus, Ohio.
There you go.
There you go. How you doing, Wes?
I'm good, Rod. How you been?
Long time no see.
Yeah. It's been a while, so good to catch up. Good to be able to get in the studio, no masks, and kind of hang out. Yeah.
4 whole days since I've seen this guy.
Yeah.
What did you notice with? I'm so glad to say you came in here like, wow, man, you upped the game since the last time. What have you noticed?
Yeah, you extended the wall. You closed off the studio completely. It was kind of open to the other spaces. You got, some headphones so the people waiting on the sidelines can listen in to, to call in.
And the big screen in the lobby.
Yeah, that one I missed. I missed that. But yeah, there's all types of stuff. And obviously you've stepped your bobblehead game up because I can barely see you behind the desk there.
I'm waiting for the Wes Cates bobblehead, by the way. Rough Riders, can we get on it? Those don't exist, do they?
I need to get a good, the wiser ones that come in with the whiskey bottle. But I do. I need to get on it myself. Try to create a bobblehead.
Well, you are in the Hall of Fame. You are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
so.
That's good enough for now. But yeah, we need to get like a little 6-incher or something.
Yeah,
something a little bigger.
He is the second leading rusher in Saskatchewan Roughriders history. And let me share a Rider moment for a second. Because for whatever reason, we used to talk all the time when you were playing, right? 07 to 2011. And I remember you were racking up all these yards. I think I put the record book in front of you to say, who's number one? And you're like, George Reed. Like, Wes is number 2. And he's 15,000 yards, I think, behind George Reed.
Something like that.
It gets ridiculous.
Yeah. I just remember knowing, I knew that he had a lot of yards, but you put it into perspective, right? When it was a surprise for me to think that in a few years that I got to number 2, but it's the nature of the league in the CFL, right? It's hard to have a guy like I ended up playing 5 years with the Riders. It's hard for any athlete to stick with any team.
He played 16.
Yeah, exactly. So just to see the numbers that he racked up, it's like, man, you got to put in some time to get to that number, no matter how good you are.
We are sprinkling in comments as we go. A lot of people from Winnipeg checking in today. Patrolman Pete says, maybe I've had too much coffee, but I swear that there has never been a better time to be a Winnipeg sports fan with the way these teams are rolling. Jets, Bombers, Ice, it's crazy. He says, with Jefferson and Jeffcoat, the Bombers have the best defensive ends in the league, and it's not even close. Eves Ross says The Rock buying the Calgary Stampeders would be like Gretzky, John Candy, and McNall buying the Argos in 1991. Great marketing for the CFL and increased interest for the CFL. My phone's been going off like crazy with people saying, is that true? The Rock's buying the Stampeders? Are they being sold? I'm like, well, they're being sold, but I don't think it's to The Rock. But your take, Wes, on the CFL over the last year and then specifically the last couple of weeks since they're back on the field?
Kind of fumbled through that missed season, I think. I think they definitely could have had a season if they would have just kind of been a little more prepared or just followed the example that the other professional leagues put out there as a way to get going and get that season. But I guess no use crying over spilled milk. I think the way they've kind of put this 14-game season together, pulled together, and started off with it's been an interesting start to the season. Some teams that are traditionally up or down and vice versa. And I think that it's gotten fans back into it. I don't know what the numbers are as far as attendance. I know the first Rider game was sold out, and then there's been a dip these last couple of weeks. But, I think there's still people leery of the whole COVID situation. So there's a lot going on, but I think the CFL is doing a good job of handling it and putting a good product out there so far.
Darren Workman's watching in Salt Lake City. And Utah, he says, I don't believe The Rock would buy the Stamps to help the CFL. It's a fun story, though, isn't it? You are Stamps alumni.
Yeah. 1 year. I mean, I spent some time. Like we were joking about last segment. A great city. Team-wise, I definitely enjoyed my time with the Riders way more. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I think it would be cool if he were to be able to put a bid in. I mean, he's got history with the team, things of that nature. He's obviously one of the biggest celebrities in the world. So why not give him a shot if if I was a Stamps, I'd call him up like, hey, you want to throw in a bid on this? You know what I mean?
No
I'm sure he definitely has the financial borrowing power if he doesn't have the wallet himself, right?
Well, Eves Ross watching on YouTube says, so the Rock thing we can put to rest? No. Why would we? But I'll say it again. I've got owners of other sports teams that are writing me saying, are the Stamps truly for sale? Is it too late? Can we get in? Is the new buyer welcoming other guys? I said, I don't know. From what I hear, it's one guy. He doesn't want to be identified. And it's pretty much been confirmed by everybody in Calgary that I know from the football standpoint. So, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is alum of the Calgary Stampeders. So it is a wonderful fit. Why would we put it to rest? They're going to be sold anyways. But you and I talked about this on the other television show a few days ago. What about the 0-2 Calgary Stampeders? We didn't know at that time that Bo Levi Mitchell was going to be gone with a broken leg for 6 weeks or more.
Yeah.
That can't be going over well in Calgary, Wes.
No, it's tough. I mean, they're definitely they take pride in their team. I think it might hurt their pockets a little bit. So they need to, you know what I mean, get back on the winning streak quick, because I think Calgary is a little bit more fair weather fans than the Riders, definitely. So whatever they've got to do to figure things out. What's my man's name? Jake Mayer?
Apparently, I got it wrong.
Jake
I
Mayer.
said Zach.
We'll see what he does. I mean, I was just looking. He's 24. He's a young guy. I was a junior in high school when he was born. You know what I mean? I'm looking for college stats. I couldn't find anything quick. So who knows what this kid's done? Obviously, he's done enough in practice to, you know what I mean, prove to the coaches that he can go out there and run the plays. Now, can he make the throws? Is he going to crack under pressure? We'll have to see. But, hey, you got to give a guy a chance. I mean, Bo Levi is the only quarterback to ever come through Calgary. So, you know what I mean? There's going to be another good quarterback
since
after.
You've been living in Canada. You might have heard of Doug Flutie. Have you heard of Doug Flutie?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Doug Flutie. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of guys have gone through good players. So
Smiling Hank,
who
you played with.
Yeah, I wish I got to play with Hank more. I think his game complemented mine better at the time than I was playing. You know what I mean? I think that we'd have vibed. But hey, I got a championship. He got a couple while he was here, so it is what it is.
From the general watching in Calgary, says, we love Cates in Calgary. I don't doubt that for a second. Anybody who knows this guy loves him. From Dominic D, watching on YouTube, as the Stamps fans have woken up. I think he's a Stamps fan. He says, bad look for O'Connor if a rookie can overtake him. O'Connor's only been in the league a couple years either. This is not a good situation for the Calgary Stampeders to have to go to either one of these young guys. They didn't expect this to happen, which, by the way, just before the game kicked off last night in Vancouver, did you say you watched it? Or
no, I missed it.
You were out last night.
Yeah.
I'm never out. But they were showing highlights of last week's game, Stampeders and Lions, and Bo was twisting and turning and dropping back. I'm like, last week.
Yeah.
And the last play of the game. I'm like, he had a broken leg?
Yeah. Well,
was he shot up or?
Was the non-weight bearing bone apparently, or adrenaline does a lot for it. You'd be surprised because when I actually broke my foot that I played it in the playoffs, I broke it in a game and I didn't realize that it was broken until we were flying back from Hamilton. I broke it probably in the third quarter. Guy landed on my foot, and I was like, that hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? And then I finished the game. Then in the locker room, you're in the shower. I'm like, my foot still feel a little more sore. By the time we got off the plane, I couldn't even walk on it. So that adrenaline is a beautiful thing when you're in the battle. So I'm going to get you to retell that story in a moment, but Arlen Bruce III is watching right now. You remember Arlen? Oh, he's a beast, man. He's one of those guys that play bigger than he was. Just a great playmaker.
He is a beast. He said, who is The MVP, it just slipped off the screen here. Arlen. Who is the MVP of the CFL currently if we had to pick? I got Sean White. Stop it. That? Stop it, Arlen.
It's
a kicker? 6 for 6. I know. A kicker has never been the MVP of any league.
How about that?
Yeah, it's going to go.
Although, who would be better? I don't know.
It's going to go to a quarterback. I mean, you got to go Caleros or Fajardo right now, I would say. You know what I mean? Just because it always goes to the QB. They have the most pressure on them. So it's going to end up being a QB, I guess. Maybe you talk about Willie Jefferson or Leonard over here. You know, I mean, he's been putting up some numbers. I guess Woodard's got all the stacks, but I feel like Leonard is definitely leading that D-line. So
we are
maybe Woodard's
1/7 of the way through this season.
Right.
So I appreciate the sentiment, Arlen, but we got a long ways to go, and I appreciate you watching and chiming in. But he's being humble. That road to the Grey Cup in 2007, which seems like a real long time ago now, Wes. I don't want to say. You said you were in junior high school when this Stamps quarterback was...
No, I was a junior in high school when he was born.
When he was born?
Yeah.
I just looked up your
97.
I just looked up your Wikipedia, man. I didn't realize you were in the 40s club with me.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
Welcome.
I try to work on the, try to be deceptive.
But anyways, I knew that he had played in the West Final for the Roughriders on a broken leg. I knew that. And we were going to Toronto for the Grey Cup, and we were on the turf at Skydome. I think it was the day before the game.
Yeah.
And I said, Wes, it was in an interview, I think, and I said, how's your foot? And you said, I would throw my foot over my shoulder if I had to play this football game. You probably would have cut it off if you had to play that game.
Well, I don't know about cut it off. But no, really, I was hurt, man, because, it was kind of a flukish accident. And then the first diagnosis was, oh, you're done for the season. Then I got a couple second opinions, and they said, well, you can't do any further damage as long as you can deal with the pain, and we can do a localized anesthetic and freeze it, numb it. They said you should be good. So I was like, if that's an option, let's try it. And it worked. And so it seemed a lot crazier. Like when I wasn't shot up, I really was just standing around. I couldn't even walk on it, really. I just kind of shuffled around. But, yeah, there's some great medicine out there, I guess. At the end of
Is
the
that what you call it?
Yeah. Who knows what type of damage or how my foot will feel in another 20 years. But
you're walking around okay.
Yeah. We're 15, 14 years after the fact, and it still feels good.
Well, the Hall of Fame therapist of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Ivan Goodfriend, said on this show, it was the most heroic display he'd ever seen. This guy, in his 40 years in pro football, is what you did to play in that game.
Well,
what'd you have for rushing in that game, by the way? I'm trying to find it up.
It wasn't a ton, man. It was, I think it was like maybe 60, 70 yards. That was a defensive battle. It was the two defenses won that game, really, at the end of the day. We just made more big plays on offense. Fantus had a big catch. You know what I mean? We had an interception that was returned for a touchdown. That made a big difference.
Have you watched it since?
No, never. I've watched maybe a highlight or two.
Yeah, me too. But I see on ESPN Classic sometimes it's like 2007 Grey Cup. I'm watching the guide. I'm like, why?
Yeah, there wasn't much. It was an ugly first half for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody settled down in the second half, but it was just all defense and bad offensive plays in that first half. It was tough.
We're going to pause and come back more with Wes Cates. Next hour, by the way, Adam Bighill of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers previewing their game in Toronto Saturday. Andrew Murray is watching on YouTube, and how about this? He says actually place kicker Mark Mosley for the Washington Redskins won the NFL MVP in 1982. Wow. That must have been a terrible year for football. The kicker won the MVP of the NFL. Anyways, you're watching a Flame Tech Football Friday here on Game Plus Television Network, YouTube and Facebook live streaming and 24-hour sports radio for Suds Full Service Car Wash at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Peterson On Demand. For more of The Rod Peterson Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Peterson on social media.